bedazzled audiences for more than 60 of those 64 years. And his transition is one of the entertainment industry's greatest losses. Comments on his death from friends and peers included this one from Milton Berle. I think in his 64 years, he lived 100 years. He loved people and he loved his work. He loved show business. And from Bill Cosby, it's a shame. It would have been fantastic to see him at age 82 still enjoying performing for people. And from one of his closest compadres comes this statement from Frank Sinatra. It is difficult to compress a friendship of more than 40 years into a few words. I wish the world could have known Sam as I did. Sam never gave less than 100% when he was on stage, and he gave even more to those lucky enough to call him friend. It was a generous God who gave him to us for all these years, and a heaven with his magic gives me warmth. Sam was the best friend a man could have. He was a class act, and I will miss him forever. And This Week in Black Entertainment would like to make its statement. We think it's only fitting that we're doing this show from the Kennedy Center, where only 3 years ago, Sammy Davis Jr. received the Lifetime Achievement Award. I was fortunate enough to talk to Sammy before he received the award, and I'm happy to say that Sammy was just as charming off stage as he was on stage. We'd like to take a look now back at this very talented man. We'd like to take a look at Mr. Bojangles, a tribute to Sammy Davis Jr.
I'm right or whether I'm wrong, whether I find a place in this world or never belong, I gotta be me.
He was an actor, singer, dancer, impressionist. I guess you might say an all-around song and dance man. And for more than 60 years, he entertained us with a gusto and exuberance that was impossible to match.
Give up this dream of life that keeps me alive.
Sammy Davis Jr., who hailed from Harlem, put on his first pair of tap shoes when he was practically a baby. And by age 7, he was dancing and singing his way into our hearts in a 1933 film short called Rufus Jones for President.
What kind of cloud am I?
He entered show business during a time when black people weren't allowed to perform in much more than minstrel shows. And though on stage he was applauded and appreciated, off stage he received the same Jim Crow treatment as most African Americans during that time. The post-war Davis saw an improvement in his career, but misfortune struck him personally around that time when in 1954 he lost his eye in an auto accident. But being the fighter that he was, and thanks to his friend Frank Sinatra, he rallied even stronger.
I want to live, not merely survive. And I won't give up this dream of life that keeps me alive. I gotta be me. I gotta be me. The dream that I see makes me what I am.
One segment of my brain says, yeah, you could have done it differently. But then the front part of it just says, then you wouldn't have appreciated what you have now.
In the 60s, Davis, along with Sinatra, Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford, and Dean Martin, became part of a successful group of talented entertainers who were known as Hollywood's Rat Pack. They starred in several films together. Davis's popularity also took him to the little screen with his own TV series, The Sammy Davis Jr. Show, in 1966, and also appeared in episodes of General Electric Theater and All in the Family, to name a few.
Who can take a sunrise?
But it was his love of song and dance that helped to create million sellers like The Candyman and his personal favorite, Mr. Bojangles. Davis loved the song because it reflected some of the struggles and challenges he had faced in his own life. Struggles like near-fatal alcohol and cocaine addiction. But it was a legal yet lethal drug that ultimately sealed his fate. He did not quit smoking cigarettes until he had been diagnosed with throat cancer. Davis stayed in the public eye almost to the end. His last public appearance was when he received the NAACP Hall of Fame Award, just 2 months after the industry honored him for 60 years of perseverance and entertainment genius. When we come back, we'll have a look at that tribute and much more on Mr. Bojangles, a tribute to Sammy Davis, Jr.
Come back and dance again. Please, Bojangles. Give my cane.
Sammy Davis Jr. appeared in more than 20 movies in his lifetime. But the last film he worked on was Tap in 1989. Here's an unedited interview with Davis from that time.
The film is groundbreaking. And we talk about it a great deal, but very rarely do we get a chance to make it a reality, about being supportive of each other. Gregory is, he is so magnificent. He's a good friend of mine, and we have been friends. But you should be there to be supportive. In other words, just don't, hey, let's have lunch, come to the house, I go to your house. But you should be there in terms of, if you've got a commitment, you've got to say, hey, you want me? I'll be there. And mean it, not just lip service. And we, as black people, have to do it even more so. Black entertainers have to do it and be supportive of each other. So that, or else it doesn't mean anything now. Because you can't, that I and me kind of attitude that was in the 30s and the 40s, that don't apply anymore. And don't be afraid of it. People say, well, gee, you ain't gonna do no picture with Gregory, he how good he did. What's that got to do with me, I've been out here struggling, I've survived. And I survived because a lot of people were there for me. And I wish there were times when we could have done that. But in the past year and a half or so, I've seen a lot of good linkage. The film, for me, that I participated in, I did an album, one of the tracks with Lena Horne. I've known the lady for 40 years. Finally got a chance to sing with her. And you don't ask how much money you're going to make, or what's my percentage, this, that, and the other. You just say, yeah, I'll do it. It's a good song. To work with Lena, yeah. Same thing applies with this. Didn't matter. I didn't ask about billing and how much money, this, that, and the other. You just do the picture because it's worth doing, and it's worth doing it with Gregory because I knew how involved he was with it. And he's magnificent in the film. And to be a part of the ensemble is important. I tap dance for a long time, and I continue to tap dance. And the brothers and sisters who come see me, I've never gotten that kind of reaction on a personal basis. I think there's a whole thing until we get rid of until we can look at ourselves, look at Hattie McDaniel, and look at Willie Bess and Mantan Moreland and Stephen Fetchit and say, yeah, then was then. Okay, what have we got here now, and what are we going to have tomorrow? Stop concentrating on those people. That was another period. And the people who comment on it, most of them weren't even there when these people were there. So you can't really say they weren't there when their pictures came out, and they weren't there in terms of what the condition of our society in America was like, and how much, man, I remember in the days when I went down to a movie, I'd be in a theater working, you look at, gee, I was pleased as punch to see somebody black in the film, had 3 lines, Now, when I got older and I got into the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, during that period of civil rights and all of that, then you looked back with a little anger like, well, it's too late, they're all past. But we take our energy and our time and keep concentrating on that. We ain't never going to go this way, because we don't spend our time being smart-ass about something back there. That ain't got nothing to do with us. You understand what I'm saying? The obligation and the commitment should be, which is one of the joys of TAP. Anybody wants to go see TAP, let them find something wrong with that. You understand what I'm saying, the film? Because you can walk in that picture, see that picture and go, yeah, Because everybody relates to everybody. And the now people relate to now. But hey, those old guys that live up on that third floor in Tap, that's their world, man. Just like our grandfathers or our mothers and fathers. You ain't gonna change them. You ain't gonna change little Mo from what he is, with the head rag on, sitting up there by himself. His only comrades and his only world is tap dancing. And he's trying to make it modern, and here comes this young boy. So, to me, I'm so proud of being a part of it, you know. And I think it's a damn good movie. I think I'm good in it, and I think Gregory is magnificent in it. And everyone else in the film is good in it. There isn't a weak link in it, and everybody plays it honest and straight. So if any of the people who watch the show, your show, if they think they're going to hear me sing Candyman and see me wearing diamonds, forget about it, because that ain't what the picture's about. The picture's about honesty and choices that we must make as people.
And now we take a look at Sammy Davis and the cast from the movie Tap.
Tap dancing, the underpublicized and often overlooked American art form, explodes on the big screen this week with the release of TriStar Pictures' musical motion picture, Tap. The cast spans the generations, from legendary hoofers like Sandman Sims and Sammy Davis Jr. to 14-year-old tap star Savignon Glover, and it spotlights multifaceted entertainer Gregory Hines.
I feel it as the most effective way that I can express myself as an artist. I have more confidence in myself as a dancer. I've only been acting for about 10 years, and I feel like I'm getting better as an actor. And singing is just really new to me, even though I always sang, beginning with The Shower. But dancing is just my love, and I think of myself as a tap dancer. And the opportunity to be in a film that deals with what it is to be a tap dancer, and also has all of my heroes, and my teachers in it, it was just a great honor for me.
Gregory is, he is so magnificent. He's a good friend of mine, and we have been friends. But you should be there to be supportive. In other words, there's no, hey, let's have lunch, come to the house, I go to your house. But you should be there in terms of, if you've got a commitment, you've got to say, hey, you want me? I'll be there. And mean it. Not just lip service. And we, as black people, have to do it even more so. Black entertainers have to do it and be supportive of each other.
Just a while ago up on the roof, I had this great idea, see? And I said to myself, it's a good idea, but the hell with it. Because ain't nobody around here good enough to pull it off.
In the film, Davis is Little Mo, a veteran tapper who wants to see Max, played by Gregory Hines, meld tapping with rock music. But Max is seduced by the quick cash of a life in crime. Drawing Max back into the world of tap is Amy, portrayed by Suzanne Douglas, who feels the film covers a wide range of topics.
It's about a lot of things. I can't really pinpoint any given thing. It's about a man who has to make a decision. He makes this conscious choice to go back to something that's going to really last a lifetime. Family, people who love you, and a wonderful art form that's going to give him a real sense of purpose and a direction.
I can just picture me in that line. And then what happens after that, huh? A gig on the road? Maybe I teach a class or two? Amy, I'm not like my father, and I'm not winding up with nothing.
Your father was a good man, Max.
Oh, yeah.
The makers of Tap hope that the film will move tap dancing away from being considered archaic and into the 90s. But some people view tap dancing as a reminder of times when blacks were negatively stereotyped in all facets of entertainment.
I tap danced for a long time, and I continue to tap dance. And the brothers and sisters who come see me, I've never gotten that kind of reaction on a personal basis. And Gregory, his star is gone this way because of the fact, I think, that he is a dancer.
Stay with us. There's more Mr. Bojangles, a tribute to Sammy Davis Jr. coming your way.
Lips at these.
All-around talented person ever in this business. I don't think there's anyone like him. And I was really nervous tonight to host this thing. And I very rarely get nervous. I was so nervous because I wanted to be perfect for Sam, you know, because he's a beautiful brother.
He was the first black pioneer to open those doors, sleep in places that we could never sleep in. But through his persistence and through his talents, he was able to take us over the mountain in a sense.
What do you think, Brandon?
I think he's great. I don't know anybody that's such a great performer and as good as Sammy.
And he could jump real high, and then he'd lightly touch down.
At his funeral, hundreds came to mourn Davis's death and to celebrate his life. Although a solemn occasion, the legacy of Sammy Davis Jr.'s life well lived was evident in all who came to pay homage.
The body of the late Sammy Davis Jr. is being laid to its final rest. Those of us who will miss him know that his legacy of music, dance, and films will provide us with a way to experience the pleasure of his genius and the joy of his talents. The ultimate entertainer, the ultimate liver of life, is the way one loving friend summed up the life of Sammy Davis Jr.
Just very sad about today, but he was just the greatest, and we'll never see another Sammy Davis.
Sammy Davis went too young, 64, but in those 64 years, I think he led 128 years. He was short in stature, but he was a giant in talent.
The love which Sammy gave at performances and through countless charitable contributions was being returned as thousands, both famous and loving fans, came to pay their last respects.
If it wasn't for him, that Michael Jackson wouldn't be who he is, and all the other singers wouldn't be who they are right now.
He was a warm, kind, generous, a real people kind of person. Very giving and very loving, very talented. He'll be missed.
I have young children who knew him and felt like I do. They felt a real loss. And I think the world would always remember him.
Sammy's wife of 20 years, Altavis, attended with their son Manny and 3 adult children from Sammy's first marriage to Mai Britt. The service was eulogized by close friend Jesse Jackson, who also married Sammy and Altavis in 1970.
He used his talents as a weapon to defend himself and his race, and thus improved the human race.
Rabbi Alan Freeling conducted the emotional service. The unscheduled remarks by Altavis were the first in a line of loving and moving tributes to Sammy Davis Jr.
The outpouring of love we felt from you during these last few months meant so much to him and means so much to our family now. How lucky we all were to have Sammy in our lives, and how dearly I will miss him.
Other speakers included California politician Willie Brown, historian and Johnson Publishing Company executive editor Lerone Bennett, longtime friend Amy Green, and Gregory Hines, one of Sammy's most loyal admirers, who presented us with the ultimate challenge.
I charge myself, and I charge all of you here, that we have the responsibility to let people know who Sammy Davis was. We have to make the documentaries, we have to write the books, we have to sing the songs, and we have to tell people who he was and what he did.
I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you in worn-out shoes.
Do you have some last words to tribute to Sammy?
I'm going to miss him as a friend.
The extraordinary life of Sammy Davis Jr., a man loved worldwide, will leave an indelible effect on the lives of many. From the Hollywood Hills, for This Week in Black Entertainment, I'm Paula Bond.
And then he lightly touched down.
Well, that's our show for this week. We hope you've enjoyed our tribute to entertainment great Sammy Davis Jr. Although he's moved on, his movies and songs will continue to sweeten the lives of generations to come. We'll certainly miss our Candyman. Be sure to join us next week as we bring you another half hour of This Week in Black Entertainment. I'm Angela Stribling, reminding you to always take time to be entertained. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Gonna see it through. Gonna build a mountain and a daydream. Gonna make them both come true. Gonna build it. That's right. Gonna build it. Gonna build me a heaven. A little hell. Gonna build a heaven. And I know darn well if I build my mountain with a lot of care, I'll take my daydream up the mountain and heaven will be waiting there.